there. How's it going, everybody?
It's Dumb Guy Live.
It's bloody Dumb Guy Live. I love it.
Bloody
We're
Dumb
here.
Guy Live.
It's Dumb Guy Live. How's it going, everybody? How Murph and Jamie? How are you guys? How was your weekend? How was your break for Thanksgiving?
It was a good break, spent it with my friends, good time. And, it's been a good day, U.S. pulled a big win against Iran.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a lot of fun.
That's right. That's fucking right. That's right.
Jamie,
Jamie
the Uruguay
dressed-
supporter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jamie's big Uruguay.
It's rough.
supporter, yeah.
It's rough going. We need to beat Ghana, and it's
need
gonna get very nasty between me and Kwame.
Bro, I'm gonna be in the Wrestle Purist chat. It's gonna be crazy because we got Brits in there, and we got Ghanaian people in there as well.
Uruguayans. We have an Uruguayan.
We do have lots of Uruguayan people in the Wrestle Purist chat. A lot of people don't know this, but Uruguay is the founding location of Wrestle Purist. Monty,
I didn't know that.
Monty and myself were on a bit of an escapade. We were sipping Mai Tais in Uruguay, and we were like, hey, what if we turn this shit into a motherfucking empire of pro wrestling content creation? Murph left. Murph left. I'm gonna remove him until he comes back. Get that shit out of there. Jamie, it's you and me. I think it's better like this anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back now. All right.
Dude, I was literally just going to grab something. Sorry.
Never mind. Don't worry about it. Nothing happened. So let's do this shit. All right. We are going to we're going to talk about some year-end awards talk because it's awards season on Wrestle Purists, and we are very excited to go over some of the year-end awards, who we think qualifies for this type of stuff, who we think would be good candidates, especially maybe candidates who are not the immediate number one contender that a lot of people think of. Obviously, pro wrestling in an English-speaking space is dominated by things like WWE and AEW, and to a lesser extent, like New Japan and Stardom as well. But I think we can offer perspectives that are even outside of that. So I am looking forward to talking about this with you guys. Jimmy, do you want to start with awards, or do you want to start with talking about a little bit of the big Stardom shows that we didn't get a chance to address? What about Stardom? Did you want to talk about? Because you want to talk about something.
Yeah, we'll get into a little bit of Stardom early on. So I think the big show since the last episode was the Stardom In Showcase Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
These are, if you don't keep up with Stardom, these are kind of like Stardom sports entertainment, crazy match gimmicks and stuff like that. So we had a fatal 4-way. Oh no, what's this? Lewis, it's coming home.
We love you, Lewis. It's not coming home though. It's not.
Well,
you're gonna lose.
The first World Cup was held in Uruguay, and the winners were Uruguay, so it is coming home. Depending on you wanna get technical.
All right.
But yeah, so thanks, Lewis. we had the fatal 4-way with staying on topic with football. We had Starlight Kid, Azumi, Koguma, and who was the other? Ram Kaicho.
Mm-hmm.
All representing teams from Japan's World Cup group. We had Starlight Kid scoring an absolute screamer. We had the bubble football Zorbs on. It was great. They on these Stardom and Showcase shows, there's usually a Falls Count Anywhere match that is usually my favourite match on the card.
Mm-hmm.
They always have Koguma in there and Azumi, and it's just fun. Bit of high speed action.
Yeah, I'm getting envious that I didn't see this, because I just adore those. The first one was just like incredible. It was just so much fun, and especially I'm such a big fan of Koguma that it's like to see her in like highlighted positions, which I'm not sure she will be that much going forward, is always good to see.
And I've always talked about how my love for Stardom started in 2018, where actually this is funny. I was the one who watched Stardom when no one watched it, and Stardom they used to do like the competitions, like the goofy like mask fiesta and stuff like that, and like I was looking at the Stardom and Showcase, and this is like, wow, this is what I like. Like this is the Stardom that I like, because I mean, I like the Stardom product, but I also like the goofiness, like the Dragon Gate style, like comedy, and I feel like Stardom and Showcase has bits and pieces of that.
Yeah, it's just a bit of madness for a few hours. There was a match where like shampoo was legal. That was the rule. And you had who was in that match? Saya Kamatani, Himeka, Momo Kogo, and Lady C, and there was just some shampoo themed action.
I love another thing I love about it is that it kind of like mixes up the card. Like it's very much putting like people who are not necessarily on the same like standing level or like kayfabe, ranking level up against each other and having them interact, which I think is a good time as well.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, Lady C, who's pretty much on the Momo Kogo on the lower end of the card with Saya Kamatani, who's been up there as like a main eventer all year, and like because of the nature of the matches, keeps it competitive. Isn't just a bit of fun. We had the Grim Reapers back, the Neo Stardom Army. This was a slightly weird match. This was an exploding coffin match against Donna Del Mondo, and they did not reveal the Grim Reaper during the match. They just wrestled with the mask on the whole time. I still don't know who it was.
I don't understand this tweet, Jamie. You're gonna have to, or this super chat. You're gonna have to explain this to me.
NXT White. Oh, I was on Discord with Lewis before we came on. I don't even know how it started, but we referred to the new NXT as NXT White. It's white and gold. We just called it NXT White.
NXT White.
NXT White. That's what we're going for. Yeah. Thanks again, Lewis.
Thank you, Lewis.
Always appreciate the super chats.
Thank you, Lewis.
But yeah, they didn't reveal who was behind the Grim Reaper match this time. So it was just Nanae Takahashi and you with the Grim Reaper.
Oh, they didn't reveal who it was at all? See, I've been so checked out of like Stardom In Showcase stuff. It just frankly, a lot of it just doesn't interest me that much, aside from like the Falls Count Anywhere and some of the hardcore stuff. So they didn't even like do the reveal.
Yeah, so they had the Grim Reaper mask on that they've had for the previous few. Yeah. And then they took it off to reveal another mask. so we still don't know who it is.
That's pretty
and
funny.
Then ultimately it ended obviously an exploding coffin match. And whoever did the explosions, it was the same guy that did the AEW explosions. That's the only way I can describe it. It's sort of like few sparklers going off. And then Rossi Ogaba got put in the casket as well. So he is canonically dead again.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is not news. Him and those Grim Reapers, man. It's a tough time for him. Yeah. Man. Damn. Yeah. Well, it seems like the show was like a good bit of fun as usual. A lot of casual stuff. Nothing. It is very much outside of canon. It's very much there. This is like it's like a variety show. It's trying to be WWE or it's trying to be a comedy show or something like that. Less just explicitly wrestling. But from what I can tell, this is about as well received as a Stardom In Showcase show has been thus far. So I think that's interesting as well.
Well, there was no Cosmic Rules matches, so they avoided
that. Might have something to do with
criticism.
Yeah, isn't that Parker's favorite match?
Yeah, but it's the match of the year. Absolutely.
Or we'll get into that later. Thank you, Hayden.
Thank you, Hayden. Thank you so much. We are the guys.
Absolutely. The dumb guys, maybe.
The dumb guys. That's us. The guys who are dumb. All right, sweet. So, a little bit of a Stardom recap. It was kind of a quiet weekend in Japanese pro wrestling. There really wasn't all that much to. There was a big TJPW Korakuen, which I didn't watch because I don't care. But
the only thing notable is the tag leagues.
Yeah, tag leagues are going on. Sad news in the All Japan tag league. Shotaro Ashino dislocated his shoulder. He's out of the tag league. I know, it's real sad. But the tag league is still going on. Is very much the most fun thing. I firmly believe that of all the tag leagues going on, out of all the leagues going on, so New Japan World Tag League, Super Junior Tag League, All Japan Real World Tag League, Junior Battle of Glory, DDT Dio. I'm missing an obvious one here. Stardom Tag League. Yeah, Stardom Tag League. Out of
all those, I'm only watching the junior, the New Japan Junior Tag League.
I'm trying
That's the
to
only
watch
one
everything.
I really have interest in.
I'm trying to watch everything, but
the Dio,
yeah.
The Dio is
you're mad about the rules.
I think it's stupid. And then DDT announces that they're bringing in Kotaro Suzuki to join Burning. I'm like, yes, that's what I want. I don't really care if they're 45. I don't care. I'd rather see Jun Akiyama than Ricky Shane Page. I'd rather see Yukio Sakaguchi
Speak for yourself.
Than Joey Janela. It's
speak for yourself.
And then they don't even push the best, who I think is the can't miss prospect in Kenon.
Yusuke Okada.
No.
In who?
Kenon.
Kenon over Yusuke Okada?
I think Kanon's a beast, dude.
Bro, they put Kenon in the DO. Like they're
and he didn't even win. He didn't win. I thought he was gonna win the whole thing.
He's been in the company for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, and he should be pushed to the top. But that's I forgot to draft him last week. I'm regretting my Soma Watanabe pick because I should have taken Kenon. But
did we have a definitive winner for the draft?
I think it's
did
me.
we work out who won?
I think it was me.
Is it? I'm not sure.
It was all me. Hey, if you guys watched the draft, just put in the comments who won. I may put up your comment if you say it was me. So just letting you know because I'm in control. So yeah, it's kind of a quiet week. Of course, December is always like kind of a quiet week as we gear into Wrestle Kingdom season and all that type of stuff. A quiet month, I should say. Did I say quiet week?
We'll have
that isn't.
I'm trying to think. So the Stardom has some big shows at the end of the month, correct?
Yeah, and then Stardom has their big sumo hall, right?
And, Dragon Gate has Final Gate on the 26th.
Dragon Gate has Final Gate, and that's like the big. I mean, Ice Ribbon has Ribbon Mania. I mean, that's the thing.
Actually, that's my fault. Final Gate is on Christmas, so everyone can
on Christmas.
spend their Christmas opening up their presents and watching Yuki Yoshioka.
This is true. P drafted Will Ospreay, therefore he won.
I didn't know he was eligible.
Close. Thank you, Matt. That's your fault for being stupid because I literally, Jamie-san,
dumb guy live.
Jamie-san, did I say in the chat?
In the chat.
I said it in the chat. My favorite friends and my favorite
BPJ.
supporter. What up, fellas? Thank you, BPJ.
You're the Trump supporter.
I love you too. Oh yeah, who could it be?
Parker.
It's
Iowa's own Parker.
Oh yeah, you're from rural Pennsylvania. Get out of here.
I'm from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, rural Pennsylvania. Okay. All right. This is bad news. I didn't know about this. Why are you dropping bad news on the Dumb Guy Live, Scarecrow? There was an Ice Ribbon pay-per-view this weekend. Our Ice Ribbon announcers are leaving, apparently. Okay. So
they should bring in the girl from Tokyo Joshi, bro.
I'm not interested. She needs to be better at being an announcer. She's not a personality. Anyway, speaking of Will Ospreay, I think we should talk about some awards, you guys. Talk about some of the stuff that we're doing. So, Wrestle Purists, we're going all in on the end of the year awards this year. We are going to have a suite of 16 different awards that we're going to talk about, or that will be awarded. I don't think we'll talk about all of them this year, or today, I should say. But we're going all in. I mean, we are getting genuine media input. We're getting genuine wrestler input for a lot of the awards, and the rest of them are going to be open to voting. And we're going to narrow them down to a few nominees for each different category. But I just want to talk about these awards, and I think we're just going to kind of stream of consciousness discussion style hash it out and say who we think is the qualifies for these awards, all right, and who we think is the best candidate. So speaking of Ospreay, if we're talking about Wrestler of the Year, for me, if we're talking worldwide effort, and I don't want to just talk about like only Japan work or something like that, I think it's
this award. This episode is going to be the whole world. So the ones who came for just Japan,
yeah,
sorry
for sure. Yeah, I think it's Will Ospreay. For me, he's just been so insanely consistent all year, and it's like his middling matches he elevates into great matches, and then his great matches he elevates into like match of the year contenders, right? I think you just can't. I mean, obviously opinions are opinions or whatever, but if you're like a pretty conventional wrestling fan who sees things like most other wrestling fans see things, he has to be number one on a lot of people's lists. There's like so many underrated matches that people don't even talk about. Like obviously people know the Wrestle Kingdom match against Okada. Obviously people know what I think is the non-ice ribbon match of the year, which is the G1 final between himself and Okada. People know the Michael Oku match and the Naito match that was in the G1 semifinal. Like what other obvious ones am I missing, guys? He had all those
Orange.
United Empire tags, the Orange match that you and I saw in person, Murph.
He had a great match with Brian Cage.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Then you go one step further and you're like, oh my God, he had so many incredible matches against people that we've forgotten about. I haven't forgotten about the Brian Cage match because I was there in person, Jamie.
Nice.
I saw that. I saw him, Blake Christian, of all people, he decided to just put on like the indie match of the year against Blake Christian. It was like unbelievable. It was so good. And so I just look at, Nick Wayne and like Dax Harwood on Dynamite and all this stuff. It's just so impressive. The Shota Umino match from just a week and a half ago at this point. I mean, he's had so many great matches all year that for me, it just has to be him. If you're just looking at purely an in-ring perspective,
I think John Moxley is the only person that I think should be even in the conversation, just because the fact that he's been able to do it on, as the comment says, like he's been able to do it TV weekly. He stepped in for AEW when they needed him the most. I mean, the guy's just been a superstar, and I think John Moxley's the only guy who I think has like any other claim to it. But I think Will Ospreay just having bangers like almost weekly is just it doesn't make it.
I think
and the
Moxley,
fact that Will Ospreay was able to come to American TV and just what was it, a month run, and he was able to effortlessly just become like
he was like the best guy
star.
on TV every week. It was unbelievable. And of course it's you and I, like, because we're gearing up to go to Forbidden Door and we're watching every episode of AEW TV like super intently because such a cursed show. This show's going to be a fucking mess. But I mean, he was the best thing on all of those shows. He was incredible. He just showed up, tore the house down, and then left. I agree that Mox is in contention. I think he will end up winning it because I think when you combine the fact that he anchored what I think will be most people's promotion of the year in AEW, he was champion for a big portion of it, and again, his week to week American TV consistency is pretty much unmatched compared to anybody else that's in contention. I would push back a little bit to say that because I do think there is one other wrestler for me who should be in contention. Unfortunately, most people just don't watch him, which is Kento Miyahara, who has had a unbelievable. He's had multiple Triple Crown reigns this year, unbelievable stretches. I mean, it's tough because of course not everybody's going to watch like the fucking All Japan house show circuit, right? Like I get that. However, bro, if you give it a shot, he elevates matches in Shinkiba in front of 197 people to like super heated, like banger tag matches. And he's not in there with like incredible workers. I mean, he's in there with good guys, but they're not like, Hokuto Mori's pretty good. Atsuki Aoyagi's pretty damn good, stuff like that. But I mean, he is elevating stuff to a whole nother level. He has the best match of Jake Lee's career. He has the best match of Yuma Aoyagi's career. I think that world title match with Yuma Aoyagi, the one that was the result of Yuma winning the Triple Crown, which is the best All Japan.
I think it was like in the hotel in Sapporo.
It was in Hokkaido. Yeah. And so that's an incredible match that very few people have actually watched.
If Kento was in any other Japanese promotion, I feel like maybe not Dragon Gate, but if he was in New Japan, DDT, it would just be. But like All Japan TV kind of being like seen as a burden, and also like All Japan being seen as like a dead promotion, that I think just kills Kento. But Kento's the man.
I like this. I think like matched. If there was an indie wrestler of the year, I know Mike Bailey signed to Impact, but if you take away his Impact work and you just look at his indie body of work, I think he's the indie guy of the year. A lot of people haven't. If you don't watch a ton of American indies, you haven't really seen it. But he really does have a knack for just having the best match on practically every show he's on. I mean, I saw him have a 4-star match in person with one called Manders, of all people. I also think that underratedly that those Bola finals against Daniel Garcia, one of the best indie matches of the year. So I enjoy this pick. Mike Bailey is higher up than on my personal wrestler of the year list than any WWE wrestler, for example. So I think this is a good call, Dragon Master Adam. Thank you very much.
I'd also throw in, I don't know whether our wrestler of the year vote is solely counting men's wrestlers, but I'd throw in Shuri.
Yeah, go for it, Shuri.
I think we'll get to the women's wrestler of the year votes, but we've spoke about it a few times, Parker, about her having like a better year than last year. And I think she was like considered last year to be the women's wrestler of the year. So to like go further and top that with her reign as Red Belt champion, I think she's up there. I put her in that top 3 with Moxley and then Osprey.
There's actually, I'd actually add one more candidate.
He's gonna be Adam fucking Cole or some bullshit. Oh, greatness on a different level mode. Roman Reigns. No, you motherfuckers. Roman Reigns is not the wrestler of the year. He will never be the wrestler of the year. You have to be good at wrestling to be the wrestler of the year. So he will not be the wrestler of the year. Sorry if I got up close to my mic and was a little blowing things out there, but
you're just not Uzi. You're not Uzi enough.
Yeah, I'm not Us, bro. I'm not Uzi enough. I'm not fucking Uzi enough. Sami Zayn, epic. All right. Anyway, I did not watch the pay-per-view this weekend. Correct. He does. Thank you, my Portuguese compadre. All right. Isra, thank you so much. The Wrestle Purist Cracker edition. We have earned our flowers. Isra, I think I appreciate you so much. Dear Loki, thoughts on Josh Alexander. I know Murph's not a huge fan of Josh Alexander. I do think he's great. I think he's an awesome wrestler, super entertaining. However, I have not loved the Impact pay-per-view and like monthly special main events as much as a lot of people have. Like a lot of people have the Kazarian matches being unbelievable. What was the one earlier in the year that people were just like losing their minds over? Was it the Eric Young one? It might have been. Like all those matches I thought were really great and entertaining. But to me, if you're going to be the wrestler of the year, you have to go one step beyond that. You have to be putting on like match of the year contenders. And for me, Josh Alexander didn't quite reach that. But again, not being wrestler of the year does not mean you're a bad wrestler or anything like that, right? Monty says it was the Eric Young match. So the Alex Shelley. And again, they're all great matches. I just don't think they're like blow away, top level, like incredible stuff. This is interesting. I'd be interested to see that. I feel like some of the Nagoya like mid-level pay-per-views didn't draw that well. Matthew Burrell says, purely looking at who main evented, is there an argument that Shuri's the top drawing wrestler in Japan outside of New Japan and Great Muta? That'd be interesting to see. I think if I'm looking back at things, I think actually like Go Shiozaki has had a really high like draw count in shows that he's main evented. He just frankly has not main evented that much. Nomura's a guy who I think is fantastic, but I just don't fucking watch Big Japan unless it's one of the Samurai TV rips that like has the great production values and everything like that. Now, that being said, he's been awesome in All Japan.
Adding on to Matthew's point, it's I don't know if the pure numbers. I know the numbers have been up. Dragon Gate's business is like doubled since Yuki Yoshioka has been champion. You know, they've done really well, and they did really well in Tokyo, really well in Osaka. They did 50% in Osaka to get cheering, and they like were ahead with like full capacity last year. So I would. It's on small scale, but I think Yuki Yoshioka has really been a great draw for Dragon Gate this year.
Okay, let's move on to the women's wrestler of the year really quickly. I want to talk about this more in depth. Shuri, absolutely. I think Shuri. If I did not have such a deep love and appreciation for Ice Ribbon, it would be Shuri for me. So before we talk about people who I might be considering, couple other Stardom wrestlers who I think are in like top contention would be Julia and Mayu Iwatani. I think it's a pretty clear. Now, one who I don't have quite as high that a lot of people are like calling Women's Wrestler of the Year is Saya Kamatani, personally. I have very much enjoyed her matches, but I haven't. I don't know. Aside from the Tam Nakano match at Sumo Hall, which I thought was unbelievable earlier this year, I don't think she's had any like incredible blow away must see matches, at least for me. What do you think, Jamie? About let's talk about Saya real quick.
So with Saya, I think earlier in the year I had her up there higher than I do now, and then I just think the 5-star, which is like the busiest time of year for Stardom. I think Shuri had a great 5-star, and I think there are lots of others who are in that upper echelon who had a much better 5-star. Like
Julia, Mayu,
Julia,
Tam, Starlight Kid, Hazuki, Momo Watanabe. I mean, you could make an argument probably that Saya didn't have one of the top 10 5-star performances if you go out of the field of 26.
I would agree. So I think that's kind of hampered their case for Women's Wrestler of the Year. I think there are a lot of who have jumped above her in that ranking from Stardom. I think Tam Nakano maybe is up there with the shout. I think she's had some really great matches. Like
I do too.
You mentioned their match with Saya. She also had the matches with Natsupoi, which was, for a lot of people, were like some of the best Stardom matches of the year. And now she's in that tag team division with Natsupoi. So I think she's had a great year. And then Julia as well, who I think her case will be bolstered probably after the December 29th show, which might be too
I would
late.
hope so.
But I'm not sure. I believe the vote closes on the 29th. We'll get to this when we get to show of the year.
Well, and of course, it's going to be hard to eclipse Shuri, considering she's against Shuri in that match, right?
Exactly. If that match is amazing, then it helps Shuri's case as well. So,
and again, I'm a huge fan of Saya personally. Like she's one of my favorites in Stardom. I just don't know. Like I'm more into her as a personality and a performer than I am maybe just like if we're looking at star ratings and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I also frankly thought the Kyrie match was a massive disappointment. We didn't really go into it on the pod, but I actually thought that was maybe the most disappointing match I've watched all year for me.
Now I know expectations, right?
Yeah, I had incredibly high expectations for that match, and it did not even come close to living up to that. So yeah, but yeah, other kind of underrated candidates would be someone like Momo Watanabe, who I think had an incredible 5-star run. Starlight Kid, like we talked about, Hazuki, like we talked about. Outside of Stardom, things like TJPW. Yeah, go ahead, Murph.
For WWE women, I think this person's been a dominant champion all year. I think this person has been a great wrestler. This person's not afraid to go outside the box. And the person I'm talking about is Mandy Rose. I think we need to give Mandy Rose a shot.
Let's move on. Mandy Rose is maybe the worst champion in wrestling right now. Let's move on. We have so in Tokyo Joshi Pro, I think there
comments are behind me.
yeah, that's true. I think there have been 4 top TJPW wrestlers, and it's odd that I'm not including their current champion in this. But I do not think Yuka Sakazaki has had that incredible year or anything like that. But I think always Miyu Yamashita, of course. Yamashita has also been bolstered by a good stop in America. That was really fun. I also think Miyu Watanabe, with her sort of star-making performance in the Princess Cup, was pretty fantastic and engaging. And then Shoko Nakajima, I thought, had a really solid title run, including a fantastic title win against Yamashita. And finally, I think Rika Tatsumi has maybe the Tokyo Joshi Pro match of the year against Shoko Nakajima at what was that, Grand Princess in like May or June. I thought that match was great. Any of you guys have any input on the TJPW squad?
I'd add Mizuki. I think Mizuki's my favorite wrestler in Tokyo Joshi Pro. And
she had an awesome title match on the January 4th show.
Yeah, I'm not gonna act like I'm a huge Tokyo Joshi fan. I'm not. I've been upfront about it. But from what I every time I Mizuki is like a wrestler that when I watch her, I'm just locked into her. It's there's an aura, and I think that it's just simple. It's so simple, but it works so well. in that January 1st, fourth match against it was Shoko Nakajima. I was big. It was Miyu
It
Yamashita. What am
was
I saying?
Miyu.
What am I
Yeah.
saying? What am I saying?
No,
What am I saying?
you're good. You're good.
Not speaking. But I'd say Mizuki, and I just think Tokyo Joshi Pro hasn't been as good this year. I was more into the product last year. Last year there was more. It really like popped out to me more. But I think that I'm gonna try and get back into it, and I'm gonna try and because they really do have so much talent, and I'm not a big fan of the foreigners they brought in, but I think that having the opportunity to bring in foreigners will just make it better.
Yeah, a couple things. I just haven't been super into Yuka this year. I think it was such a missed opportunity not having Miyu Watanabe win that Princess Cup. Like, I get it. Like, I get why you go with your top star and your big draw and all that stuff. But, like, that's just not that entertaining to me. And then I also think that Yuki Arai is fucking terrible at wrestling. And I know you like her because you think she's cute. But
that's not true. I think from what I've seen lately, the Saki Akai and Yuki Arai tag team has really been a success.
Saki Akai is great. I love Saki Akai. I think Yuki Arai is awful at wrestling, and I don't enjoy watching her. Her axe kick finisher is like laugh out loud, pathetically bad. Ao's got a question. P, what's it about IR? Ice ribbon?
Arse ribbon?
No, it's not bloody arse ribbon. How dare you? What is it about ice ribbon that makes it greater than Stardom to you? I would hesitate to say greater than Stardom. To me, it is I am just able to have like full 100% investment in the characters. I also think historically they are without a doubt the best Joshi indie of the 21st century. For me, if you're talking about people like Tsukasa Fujimoto and Tsukushi Haruka, who both retired this year. I mean, just incredibly consistent. You're thinking of people like Risa Sera, like Suzu Suzuki, like Hiragi Kurumi, like Tekla, all these people who have done stops in Ice Ribbon throughout the years and have then moved on to do great things, of course. I think that's a testament to the Ice Ribbon spirit and everything like that. And just the hard work and care that they seem to put, like, every tiny dojo match has like a plan to it. Like, they're really genuinely trying to go out there and entertain. There's no such thing as like going through the motions on an Ice Ribbon show, which I can't really say for pretty much any other promotion. All Japan, to a certain extent, like they try to put on engaging matchups on every house show that really shuffles the roster around and makes it fresh. But I just think All Japan or Ice Ribbon has that incredible effort and unique spirit around it that makes it so engaging to me. It's my favorite promotion. So yeah, let's see.
I think
go ahead, Jamie.
I've tried to. So I need to watch more Ice Ribbon because obviously I hear very good things. The matches I've watched have been like really good. One of the matches ranks quite highly in my match of the year list, actually, because I just thought it was a ton of fun. We'll get into that maybe later. But like you mentioned, like they've had a lot of people leave in recent years and retirements. Like the two you mentioned there, Fujimoto and Tsukushi, obviously like two of the best. You've had the likes of Julia and Tekla come over to Stardom.
Yeah, I didn't even mention fucking Julia. Yeah,
like, the whole of prominence left. It's just sort of like they've had the crap kicked out of them a little bit. But I definitely need to watch more Ice Ribbon. So that's something on the agenda for next year.
So with that, I would not put anyone that we haven't mentioned in Japan on the list for Wrestler of the Year except Ice Ribbon wrestlers. And so active, I mean, so if you're going by my like Wrestler of the Year scoring that I keep track of throughout the year, I have like a formula that I do and everything like that. My current Women's Wrestler of the Year is still Tsukasa Fujimoto because I have her as having 2 5-star matches this year, more than anybody, and 1 4 3/4 star match. So even though she only wrestled for 4 months, I thought her performance, her output in that match in those 4 months was better than anybody in the world, male or female. Active in Ice Ribbon, I think the Ice Ribbon Wrestler of the Year is Ibuki Hoshi. She is, so if you take away the sentimental stuff, right, that would be particularly into,
Yuki Mashiro,
she would still rank around like Tam Nakano and Starlight Kid in my like formula rankings. All right. So even if you take away like the matches that I'm particularly, I guess, biased towards based on my love of Ice Ribbon. So I think Ibuki Hoshi is way up there. And considering she's 19 years old, that's pretty damn good, I would say. So definitely check out more Ibuki Hoshi, if you're interested in that. I don't have anybody else being in the conversation. I don't have any indies, not Miyuki Takase, not Asuka Veni, not anybody outside of that.
Here's the
Saria
question.
New has been great. Yeah.
Here's a question. We've gone over the Joshi. You could pick the one like absolute best American, or just Western, women's wrestler. Who would you pick for each of you? Because my answer jumps out, like my like no bullshit answer jumps out right to me.
Is it Tony Storm?
It's Tony Storm.
It's Tony Storm.
I think Tony Storm's been tremendous. I think that her run, especially since June when she when since June when it really kicked in, she really became a featured player, and ever since even her title run been tremendous. I think it's like John Moxley defending the title every week when AEW needed it, like that level stuff. I think Tony Storm is legitimately one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, and I think Tony Storm has been arguably the best women's wrestler in AEW history.
It sticks because the women I would put in that conversation in like a normal year, like Sasha, like Becky Lynch,
like Charlotte. My personal favorite women's wrestler in the world is Charlotte, and Charlotte hasn't done anything.
But they've all been injured or out for various reasons, and so it's been like a really, frankly, weak year for Western women's wrestling, in my opinion. It's hard to say. Like I would almost say like Sheeta because she just
had a lot of output with very little input. Like she's gotten a lot out of what she's been given.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, it's like really kind of dire actually. AEW women are rarely given the opportunity, I would say, to like really like show up and show out a lot of the time. Oftentimes the women's match that week is just like a 5 to 7 minute match. And then I think it's better with Triple H in charge. Before Vince's ousting, the women in WWE were, that was like dire straits. That was like, it was rough. All right. So I would not put Masha up there. She's really good, but just not enough to be like a wrestler of the year candidate. I do think this is a really good point from Mad King here. Jamie Hayter's last few months, I would put up against any other Western women's wrestlers like a couple months stretch this year. Is that fair?
I agree. Yeah, she would have been my, other than Tony Storm, she'd have been my nominee from AEW. But yeah, nice. Other than that.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I desperately hope that we are able to talk about some people in that conversation. And of course, NXT doesn't fucking help having Mandy Rose as your champion for the entire calendar year. That's insane. But what'll you do? All right, let's talk a little bit about Tag Team of the Year. This probably got the most debate out of anything we've posted on the Wrestle Purists page so far. We know who Murph wants. Murph, who you got Tag Team of the Year?
Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. I don't know what else I need to say. Let me just pull up. Like they've had so many great matches this year. Like let's just start with an example. The first match I can remember was I believe it was in March. They wrestled. Actually, let me pull this up. Okay, they started the year up with it was Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus Matt and Nick Jackson at Revolution. Tremendous match. I think Dave gave it 4.75. I thought that was maybe the best tag team in the world, in my opinion. I thought that best tag team match in the world. And they also had the FTR match, which I thought was great. They faced
they had the Lucha
Bros. Penta and Phoenix in Ontario. They faced Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in the ladder match. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. They faced the Darby Allin and Sting and Shingo match at Forbidden Door. Like that's just like part of that felt like an old school Young Bucks performance, like in a way. I don't know how to really describe that. And then they just had the trios tournament. They faced Keith. And they had the triple threat match against Keith and Swerve and Powerhouse Hobbs as champions. That championship run was not planned, but they made the most of it.
That title match that Swerve and Keith Lee won was like incredible.
It was epic. Babyface crowning, everything you could have won. And then they've had the trios tournament, and now they're going to finish out this year with this best of 7 series. I don't like it. It's like Young Bucks. It's like in the Young Bucks missed 2 months. Like, and they weren't featured.
Literally the absence, but they missed an entire pay-per-view cycle.
They missed.
and I still have them as my number one.
They missed an entire pay-per-view cycle, and they started the year being like kind of pushed to the side as like a storytelling device. So really, they've had 7 or 8 months of actual wrestling, and they've just been so incredible. So Young Bucks, slam dunk. I like to do top 3. So my top 3 would probably be Young Bucks number 1. Number 2, I would go Swerve in Our Glory. I think they've just been like a light, and like I think they've just been they were such a great act, and like it came together so organically that like it has to be. And number 3, like this is gonna sound like homerish because I'm doing 3 AEW tag teams, but I'm not. I would say the Acclaimed, but I want to say someone else just to.
Oh, I bet is it
up.
Luchasaurus Jungle Boy?
What?
Is it Luchasaurus Jungle Boy?
I think. Yeah, well, I mean, like the top 4 is the Acclaimed and then Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Like it's just like the AEW tag division is just so far ahead of every other tag division in wrestling. Like it's like honestly, I think Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus may be ahead of the Acclaimed right now. But like I mean, they've just been so good like the entire year.
Imagine if they did a tag league in December.
Oh my god, it'd be unreal. And then you could like have the like teams like, for example, like Mox and King, like Mox and Claudio, Mox and Kinks, like the BCC having their tag teams, and I mean, you could have so many single stars. It's just, and FTR. You see, the thing with FTR is, I think they've had some good matches, but like when people say like stuff's forgettable, like FTR will have a great match on Dynamite, like a 4-star match. But I just don't remember. Like it's just not my style, and I like it's foolish to say that they haven't been a great like babyface tag team. But really, the FTR's biggest thing is Dax Harwood singles matches.
Yeah,
Dax Harwood singles matches have been the highlight of FTR's year, and I mean, so FTR is great. I think FTR is a great tag team. I think they're very annoying and kind of a headache. But they're a great tag team. But the Young Bucks are just unreal. Like other than the Briscoes matches, that's the only like FTR like tag matches I remember.
A lot of people will say FTR because of the 2 Briscoes matches. The second of which I think is a little bit overrated. I do not think that
I preferred the second one.
Yeah, see, I thought the first one was like perfect, and the second one I was like, that was really good. Obviously the Aussie Open match does a lot for them too. The Rev Pro one, a lot of people have that as their tag team match of the year. That was a 5-star match from Dave. And of course they have the Bucks match as well. So they've had plenty of chances to. I mean, they have on their top end. It kind of matches up. If you're just looking at it like scores on cage match and stuff like that, it matches up with pretty much anybody. But yeah, I just don't see them having the night-to-night consistency that the Bucks have. All right. Now I'd be fine. I'd have to really think about it if I was going top 3, whether I would include them, because I don't know that there are any real Japanese tag teams that I would put in that top 3. Maybe Momo and Starlight Kid.
Violent Giants breaking up kills it.
Yeah.
Violent Giants top 3 done. But that's not a thing anymore.
I voted them top 3 in an Observer Awards.
It's so it used to be so easy. Violent Giants would just have 5 great matches a year. Done.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think. I think it's been kind of a weak year for just great tag teams in Japan. Jamie, who are we missing here? Who haven't we talked about?
I'll go back to Stardom as the resident Stardom guy. You mentioned Starlight Kid and Momo. I'd lump FWC in there as well. I mean, they had the strongest start to the year, maybe. And then I think Starlight Kid and Momo have maybe usurped them now. And then again, later in the year, Tam Nakano and Natsupoi. But again, that's only like sort of a half-year thing. But yeah, I'd agree. On the Japan side, it's been pretty weak. I think I would agree on the Young Bucks probably being the top. Although I'd maybe have FTR closer than most people. I just think they're like absolute best matches, which I would say is the first Briscoes match. I just think like maybe like tag team match of the year. I think that carries like pretty, carries them quite a long way. But yeah, I'd say we've pretty much covered everyone who's like in with a fair shout.
Yeah, you look at the top the top teams in or the tag title situation in all the major Japanese countries or companies, and there hasn't been that one like monster reign. FTR has
So
been
it's
holding the belts for
FTR.
yeah. So I mean, so the Noah tag team of Sugiura and Kojima is a lot of fun.
If they had
That's
a
good
full
one.
year, they'd
Yeah.
be in the conversation. But it's been like
Full
2
year
months.
would maybe put it in conversation. And then All Japan. It seems like now this time next year. I mean, you won't be saying this, Murph, but this time next year we might be talking about Jake Lee and Yuma Aoyagi as a potential tag team of the year candidate, because I feel like they're the favorites to win tag league, and then they will subsequently win the tag titles from Suwama and Kono.
They should have
So I'm very
rode
much
the
looking forward to
Gungnir.
that.
The Gungnir is the best tag team in all Japan.
I also think if we're talking about, I mean, Gungnir of Anarchy has been the best tag team in all Japan. Well, can I just vote Shitaro Ashino? Because for the first half of the year he was with Suwama and they were great, and then
now
the
he's with
second
Ryuki
half of
Honda.
the year he's with Ryuki Honda. So he's been awesome. I also want to talk a little bit about stables. Because we're a bit of a Japan. What were you going to say quickly, Murph?
Stables segue into that because I have the first stable.
Great. So yeah, I wanted to talk about stables because it's a unique thing in Japanese wrestling to go on like a house show circuit. And I know exactly what you're going to say. By the way, now that we've talked about this, is like who are some of the stables? Because there are some of us like we're fucking lunatics. We'll watch house shows on Japanese pro wrestling, and we'll get a sense of, okay, who's really bringing it night to night, and whose stuff can we skip? I know exactly who Murph is going to say, and he's going to say D Courage from Dragon.
There are 3 stables like in the hard worker house. 3 stables that like stand out easily. D Courage has been the highlight of Dragon Gate. It's like they've been the main characters of Dragon Gate.
Natural Vibes.
They've had 2 tag title runs. Natural Vibes is the perfect baby face, perfect baby face act. It's like they have the crazy entrance, they get people on the feet, and then a stable actually not in Dragon Gate that I bring up, which is the third Sauna Kamina. The Sauna Kamina, it's like they're 6 man, whatever combination. It was better than when Take was there, obviously.
Yeah, they're greatly diminished. I was looking back at last year's
their first 6 months. The first 6 months of what's it I believe it's in March. I believe it was in March. There was a really good trio. Really, any of the stuff last year with earlier this year with Sauna Kamina and Burning was just like notebook stuff. Like the beginning of the year,
they had a couple months where they were just having 20-25 minute main events against each other on house shows. I was looking back at last year's sheet recently, and I had Shinma Katsumata as like a borderline top 20 wrestler of the year and 4th in his stable, behind Mao, Yuki Ueno, and of course Takeshita. I completely concur with those. I would add in the top level Congo group. I think if you put Keno and Nakajima, to a lesser extent Soya, in a tag team, it's almost always really entertaining. So I'm a big fan of that. In DDT, I completely concur that Sauna Kamina is the one. I haven't adored Burning quite as much. I do think Harimau is looking. Is that the stable name too? It's not just the tag team name.
Harimau.
Okay, yeah. Adding Yuki Ishida, who looks great, by the way. Like all of a sudden, DDT has like all these incredible young guys who they quietly have like one of the best rosters of young guys. Like that's an awesome group, is Higuchi, Yoshimura, and Ishida. So that's a lot of fun. I have loved, this is getting a little obscure, I have loved 60 Seconds in GLEAT. I think they've been great. Kizuchi, Jun Tansho, and Keiichi Sato. Also strong.
They're the most Dragon Gate trio outside of Dragon Gate. Like it's like 60 seconds, it's easy.
Exactly.
I want to get into GLEAT. Like I want GLEAT to get more popular so we can talk more and more on here, because like GLEAT's been bringing it. And Utani, remember the name of Utani, because that guy's
I bet at time next year his popularity doubles. People are going to know who Utani is.
He's a superstar. He's the man.
I need to watch that. I need to watch that show. Also, Strong Hearts, of course, incredibly consistent. No matter what show they're on, they're always in this conversation for stables. I'm trying to think of anybody else. Oh, and I have to say, over
The
the second
Empire.
half of the year, the United Empire, yes, they've been great. I have to say, over the second half of the year, the new All Japan main unit, which is Jake Lee, Yuma Aoyagi, Shuji Ishikawa, Hokuto Omori, and one other person who I'm forgetting. But they've been just Atsuki Aoyagi. So pretty great group there, and they're the type of in the beginning of the year it was Kento and Hayato in Next Stream, and of course Yuma and Atsuki with them, and now it's kind of been this main unit in All Japan. So anybody we're missing in stables? Who would you say in? I would say it's Stars, but who would you say in Stardom has been like the most consistent stable to watch?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with Stars. Obviously, we talked about FWC having a great run as their tag team champions early in the year, and our tag league. Mayu Iwatani's obviously had a great year, SWA champion, and then the most recent IWGP tournament. In terms of like trios and actual like stable matches, I've enjoyed the trio of what's this?
We do.
It's so bad.
Strong.
Who else have you enjoyed?
I've enjoyed the Artists of Stardom trio of.
Oh yes, that's a good shout.
And Saki Kashima. So I think they've even got. I think I was surprised. I think by the time next year that we do these awards, I think we should have a trio of the year award. Maybe with AEW with the trios title. New Japan Stardom. All these companies have got their own trios division building up. So I think maybe that's one for next year. Other than that, maybe in terms of like title reigns and stuff like that. In like a kayfabe sense, Shuri's obviously been dominant champion. Mirai, I know you're the biggest fan, but she's had like a super push, right? Winning the Cinderella, and then Ami Sourei is now future Stardom champion. So I think even though they've got less members than other factions so far, they've had like pretty strong year. But yeah, I would say Stars or OLOTI.
So match of the year is, I always find this to be not that interesting of an award to talk about because I watch so many fucking matches. I watch literally thousands of matches every year. And like trying to argue match of the year is so unbelievably subjective. Like at least with wrestler of the year, you get their whole body of work throughout a year. Arguing match of the year is arguing one 20 to 30 minute thing was better than the other 20 to 30 minute thing or whatever. Right. So just talking about, I just want to like briefly talk about some contenders. First of all, what do you guys think will win it? Because I think personally, I think it'll be Okada Ospreay G1 final.
That's what I had written down first in my notes as like my first came to my head first. Obviously, they had the match earlier in the year. They had the Wrestle Kingdom match, but I think this topped it.
I think it's either going to be. I think it's either going to be Okada Ospreay G1 final, or I think it could be Adam Page Bryan Danielson.
That's a good one. I think that one has some.
That's not my match of the year. That's not my match of the year. Anarchy in the Arena. There you go. That's
another one. And then FTR Briscoe's one. I think now, unfortunately, it seems like probably FTR like 1 versus 2 is going to cut into the candidacy of both of them. But I do strongly prefer 1, and I think it will get the better promotion when it comes to a match of the year ranking. But
I like 2 more, but I get it.
Jamie, I personally would not put anything from Stardom in the match of the year conversation this year. I don't think they've had a 4 3/4 star, just in my own like subjective ratings, of course, match all year. I think they've been incredibly consistent, of course, and incredibly, like they always nail it. But in terms of that super high end match of the year stuff, I have yet to see it from them this year. However, if any match is going to do it, it's probably going to be that Shuri Julia match.
Yeah,
they will absolutely kill each other. What are you thinking for this one, Jamie?
So I'll probably agree. I don't think any particular Stardom match would like take the top spot. Like I said before, I think that's probably Okada and Ospreay's spot to lose. I think my favourite Stardom match of the year would probably be the Tam Nakano Natch Point match in the Steel Cage.
Yeah,
but I
that's
don't
up there
think that's
for me.
particularly like, you know, I don't think that's gonna like be up there in terms of the nominees for like the winner. And then what else in Stardom? I really like the
Julia Mayu.
match. Yeah, that's up
Which
there.
one?
I like the recent Kairi Mayu match. Although I didn't think it lived up fully to what I could have been given the two, but I think it was pretty good.
Shiryu Utami was super great.
Yeah.
Matt's brought this up. I think that would be top three for me in Stardom specifically. I do put that Saya Tam match from Sumo Hall up in the conversation. I thought that match was awesome. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I haven't. Julia Starlight Kid from the 5-star was fantastic. I think Shuri and Tam in the finals was great. Or sorry, Julia and Tam in the finals was great. Saya Natsupoi, that's a great match. That's a good shout. Another great match. So yeah, I love. See, they have now. That's kind of a nice thing of not having maybe that one consensus one is that there's so many. Like it's just kind of whatever your favorite is that you think is the match of the year. If I had to pick mine, I might go Julia Starlight Kid. That match was so good, and I'm such a fan of both. So, let's see what else. Are we missing anything for match of the year?
Can I do my top three?
Yeah. Murph, just do your top three for me.
Number 3 would be Anarchy in the Arena for me. That'd be my number 3.
Awesome match, incredible match.
Number 2, you're not gonna believe this. This is a WWE main roster match. Number 2 is Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell.
That's an awesome match.
That match, like you know me, like I'm not an e-drone, but you know that match was just phenomenal. Like that match was just off the charts good. Like, thank you, Ibu, for that.
Oh my god, thank you, Ibu. Thank you, friend. We love you. We miss you on the pods, friend. We miss you. I want you to come back. Thank you, Ibu. Okay, so after being a Cody merchant, what's our number one?
Number 1. This is another one I'm gonna get some hate for, because this person is not really seen as a good person anymore. But it would be CM Punk versus MJF dog collar match, AEW Revolution. That's a match.
That's a great match.
Punk soured on me for like obvious reasons, and you know, like all of that. Yada yada. I don't want to get into it, but that match was just. It was just a like. There was a feeling during that match that no other feeling is replicated for me, and I just thought that match was just true, phenomenal. So CM Punk MJF dog collar match at Revolution, number 1. And what
a build! Has there been a better build to a match all year? I wouldn't say so.
It's tremendous. We could spend a whole episode going over this. Feud of the year, match of the year, and other than like the top of the line Osprey Okada, I would also have to give a little special shout out for my other Japanese match of the year. Would be Jason Lee and Jackie Funke Kame versus Shun Skywalker and Diamante. That's instant classic. If you haven't seen it, I'd go watch. I think it's free. I think it's free on YouTube.
I think you're right. It is free on YouTube.
Dave gave it 4.75. Got critically acclaimed. You know, so I would give that match a watch if you haven't. But you know, Punk MJF, best match of the year, best feud of the year. I really wish that we could have ran this back.
So we got a couple people in here: Osprey Okada, Osprey ZSJ in the New Japan Cup. That's and again, we didn't even talk about. We listed so many Osprey matches earlier. We didn't even talk about that. That was an incredible one. Jake Lee, Yuma Aoyagi from the Carnival. This is one that got a ton of buzz a couple months ago. Jun Kasai versus El Desperado. Awesome hardcore match from JTO with a super unique environment too. That was really great. Let's see.
I thought it was a controversial one. It was very controversial.
It pained me to say it. It was hard. It was like Shawn Michaels. I'm sorry. No one likes posting that video of Punk botching all the moves more than me. But that match, CM Punk versus MJF,
it's true.
Was just phenomenal. I'll post.
This was an awesome match.
As we speak.
This is a top 3 WWE match of the year: Gunther versus Sheamus.
Oh, 100%. Great.
Jamie, what were you going to say? You were going to go into something.
I'm gonna throw out a very controversial opinion because some people think it was like in ring work awful, but some the actual match itself, it was just kind of like
Flair match.
It's the Flair match. And
I
think
knew it.
If you watch the Flair match, you either thought it was like god awful and shouldn't happen, or it was like pushing 5 stars, like unbelievable moments.
I'm with you, Jamie. I thought the Flair match was so good it made me cry. It literally made me cry. I was so
awesome.
Proud of Andrade after that match. I was like, if you're just looking at somebody like just being good at their job, right? Andrade was the fucking man in that match, just guiding everything
Absolutely.
and making sure it stayed together and supporting this insane old man in his final delusional wish. It was very special. I'm such an Andrade fan, and I was very glad that he got to have that moment. Couple ones for me. I mean, my match of the year is the Tsukushi Haruka retirement match in Ice Ribbon. I think that match is unbelievable. It was her tagging with Tsukasa Fujimoto against Nanai Takahashi and Hamuko Hoshi. Just unbelievable, unbelievably violent, incredible, like sickening headbutts. Of course, the emotion of Tsukushi retiring. She was the champion. She retired as champion. That was pretty incredible. I also have the best friends, the Drop Kickers. Their final Ice Ribbon Dojo match. It was an 11 versus 2 tag team match, which is so emotional. Like I was crying my eyes out watching.
That was the
match.
one I mentioned earlier that I've seen.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
It was just so perfect. And if you're a fan of the wrestlers involved, like it's up there. I know I am not the only person who has that match in their match of the year contention.
Johnny, that's a great shout for Kaito and Muto. That's one of the best matches of the year, in my opinion, too.
Great one, Johnny.
Incredible.
Yeah, Kaito and
incredible
Muto.
Work.
Yeah. That was an incredible match. That's probably that's my Noah match of the year.
Easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think of anything else. I do think there've been the last 2 elite trios pay-per-view matches, the Dark Order one and then the of course
Both
Death Triangle
tremendous.
one from the last pay-per-view were both unbelievable and incredible. I haven't mentioned this one, but I've only given 4 5-star ratings this year, and this is one of them, which is Masato Tanaka versus Takashi Sugiura in 0-1.
Otani show.
Yeah, the show, the big show after Otani's horrible injury. Just the emotion and the violence and the catharsis.
Acclaimed
involved.
versus Swerve in Our Glory at All Out is a great shout. I see
Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory. There's been there's
I would add
Osprey
and Orange Cassidy. I thought was tremendous.
I did not think that match was a match of the year contender. Although I definitely, it was actually only like my second or only like my third or fourth favorite match on that show.
Really, Moxley versus Yuta. That's another one. I'd also. It was a Rampage episode, but I'm just trying
to look through the 5-way Lucha match for
that was tremendous.
Title unification was like Fenix, Vikingo, Taurus. God, who else was in that? Laredo Kid and one other person who I'm forgetting. Bandito. And that a group.
The aforementioned Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus Young Bucks versus Team Taz. That's another one.
Yeah, so I'm just going through my list, and I think we've hit the big ones. Hangman versus Danielson. I do want to shout that out again because it was so awesome. One that has gotten no buzz, but I think is genuinely fantastic is Hiromu versus Ishimori for the junior title at Korakuen.
That was a good one.
I thought that match was fantastic. One of the best New Japan matches of the year for me. So that's great stuff. I mean, there's just been so much awesome wrestling. We're so fortunate that we get to watch it.
It's been a loaded year.
Yeah, it really has been a loaded year. So I'm very happy about that. And then personally, I was able to, for the first year in my life, see a really great amount of incredible wrestling in person. And the best match I saw in person all year, I saw many Osprey matches. I saw 4, which is I'm pretty happy about seeing 4 Ospreay matches in person. But the best match I saw in person all year was Minoru Suzuki versus Tomohiro Ishii at the Chicago New Japan Windy City Riot show, which was just kind of spectacular.
I would say Punk MJF at and in Orlando was my favorite match I've seen this year.
Yeah, you saw that in person. Yep. So,
but then also Ospreay and Cassidy, I'd add.
Any other Lucha shout-outs? I do not have Penta Viano. I think there is some level to work and crowd that needs to be added to, which I did not think was that spectacular for the match. Obviously, it's a fantastic retirement match a mask match for Viano here. And it's such an incredible moment for Penta to get a Viano mask. But at the same time, I just didn't think the work in the match was quite spectacular enough.
This may be a hot take, but I don't think Penta Viano was even the best match of that tournament. My favorite match of that tournament was Viano in LA Park. That was my God.
That was a fun one.
I love a lucha brawl. There's nothing that gets me like two old guys just beating the shit out of each other with cookie sheets. Like all the crazy shit. Love that.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one. Okay. Oh, and my last thing I'm going to shout out, and then we're going to move on. I'm going to get the final word here. Tetsuya Izuchi versus Yu Izuka in GLEAT, a match that is over in about
60 seconds.
40. Yeah, it's under 60 seconds, and it is literally maybe the best sub-minute match I've ever seen in my life.
It was tremendous.
Incredible. All right, let's move on. We spent a ton of time on match of the year, and I did not mean to. Couple that I don't want to spend a ton of time on are show of the year,
show
of the year, and
quick
booker
fire
of the year. Yeah, so
quick fire.
Quick fire. What do you think? What do you think, Murph? Because I know what you're going to say, but go for it.
Revolution Orlando.
Yeah. Revolution. It was an incredible show. They had so many great matches all up and down the card. Awesome show, and including your match of the year, right? So that was great. Jamie, what do you got?
I've got a slightly less talked about one, and it's a shorter card, so I understand why. I'm going to nominate the Hana Kimura Bagger show from earlier in the year. That was a great one. You had stuff like Keno in a super serious Keno in a comedy style match. That tag team.
Keno that match is so fun. Like Keno is just the guy. I mean, and one thing that people don't talk about, Keno never wrestles outside of Noah.
Oh yeah,
ever.
That's a good point.
Ever. So to do that and to do a show like that, and that's like the 4th most notable thing on the show. Jamie, go more in depth. I interrupted you based on my love for Keno. Sorry.
And so we had the in-ring return of Jungle Kiona, and she took on Kyoko Kimura in like a really emotional match. It was great. Obviously like the mother of Hana Kimura, and then like the tag team, their stablemate of Hana Kimura back in Tokyo Cyber Squad. That was incredible. You had Sakura Hirota, one of my favorite comedy wrestlers in Hana Kimura gear, getting the shit kicked out of her by like 4 wrestlers,
including Rina.
Yeah, she I think it was Shiori Anu and Kaori Yoneyama in a handicap match. And then out comes Aja Kong. And then Rina at the end. And then the night's capped off with a great match between Shuri and Asuka Uveni. It's just 2 of the absolute best women's wrestlers in the world right now. So, I think from, top to bottom, they're always, even the first one as well, just really fun cards, considering, the feel of the events. But I would nominate the Bagger show.
That's a great shout, Jamie. I was actually getting a little teary just thinking about it. It was a really awesome show. For me, I would have to say it's tough. I mean, there have been so many great shows all year, right? I mean, it's just been a great year for great shows. For me, it's obviously far and away the Sakushi retirement show. I thought there was a 5-star match. I thought there was a 4 3/4 star match. I thought there was a 4.5 star match. Star-making performance for Asahi, an incredibly fitting end to my literal favorite wrestler in the world at the time. So obviously that's the one for me. The other one that I would even consider outside of that is Forbidden Door, and there are
Forbidden Door would be number 2 for me.
Yeah, there's a ton of people in the comments talking about it. Matt,
Joao,
Sakira, Joao, Kyle here, Lamora, Mad King, all talking about Forbidden Door. Yeah, it was just it's to be there in person. I know you were there too, Murph, and it just felt like okay, this is what AEW can be. This because Murph and I are in
This is
agreement.
what wrestling could be. Really, is
Yeah,
my
AEW's
take.
Murph and I are in agreement. AEW is the best American promotion of all time. Like with that, it's not even close. And not only that, but New Japan is such a gateway to so much additional great wrestling out there in the world. It was my gateway to all the incredible stuff that I see around the world, right?
Of course.
Including lucha, including Joshi, because I'm seeing Fantastica Mania, and I'm seeing Volador and Taurus and all these
CMLL
people, right?
shows on CMLL is on New Japan World every week.
CML Viernes, right? All the time on New Japan World. So that's so just to see that culminate in a show that everybody thought was fucking cursed. It was like, oh my god, all these changes, and then we get to, and then it's the day of the show, and Murph and I are like, are you fucking kidding me?
The only
We're gonna
time
see-
in that whole build up where I was like, okay, we may be fucked here, was when I remember getting off the plane and I look at my phone and Clark Connors is in the match, and I was like, oh fuck. And
Like,
then,
or
and then
maybe it
Clark
is-
Connors ends up
and
being
then he
like
has-
the most fun.
Yeah, he's the star making guy in that match. So
Yeah.
yeah. So incredible. Yeah, shout out to Ring of Honor for being the original Forbidden Door breakers. I think, Matt, you are not alone. I think there are a ton
No.
of people who found out about Stardom through Mayumi Watani, and also
Hana.
they Oedo Tai did a short tour in Ring of Honor with like Kagetsu and Hana, and I think Hazuki was.
They
with them
did
as well.
the Vegas loop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I think a lot of people got introduced through them as well. So yeah, that's it for me. Promotion of the year,
Charlotte, do I need to say more?
I think it's AEW. I think it's AEW.
AEW.
I know you would say probably Stardom, Jamie San. Is that who you would say? Yeah.
No, but I would agree that the AEW. If I was to give it to anyone else, obviously I'm loyal to the Joshi Fed. But
the only other ones in contention for me are Ice Ribbon, of course, which I do think through all the departures has managed to exceed even my expectations of what they were going to be. They put on a 1-day tag tournament and they had like 2 4.25-star matches, and I was like blown away because these are not. It was like Rina Amikura, like the Colors wrestler. She's putting on like banger tag matches. Yuko Sakurai, right? It's like this is not what is supposed to happen with these wrestlers. And then I think genuinely on a show-to-show basis, and this includes AEW, I don't think there's been a better promotion in the world than All Japan this year for me. Even their smallest house shows are fantastically entertaining for me from start to finish. And I cannot say that about a lot of AEW shows, especially Rampages. So with that being said, I would still probably I will be putting my vote in for AEW for this award.
AEW.
And then with Booker of the Year, I don't think we need I don't understand, Monty, why there's a Booker of the Year award. It should just be shouldn't it just be who you think the promotion of the the promotion of the year is? It would be weird if you said somebody was a promotion of the year, but then you disagree. Like maybe you think TGPW is your promotion of the year, but you think Takagi's like being a shit booker or something. I don't know.
Isn't Kodo? Never mind. Let's not even get to that. I would go TK. TK for Booker of the Year.
Yeah, I would as well. Especially when you consider all the injuries. You're going for that guy over there.
Where is he? I'm trying to work out on my screen. Where is he?
Yeah, I know.
Me. It's me.
So but especially when you consider all the injuries and all the fucking shit that AEW had to go through, and the fact that they're still putting on just awesome shows is pretty fucking remarkable to me.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
TK.
No love for Shawn Michaels.
No, he's the worst Booker of the Year, except for maybe the TJPW guy. All right, best non-wrestler of the year. This is one that I think it can a lot of times just comes down to personal preference. Jamie, I'd be curious to see who you have for this guy.
So I've got 2 names written down, both from American promotion. and I've got William Regal, all the Blackpool Combat Club stuff, and especially like of late, this MJF turn. I think he has like really great year. And then my other one would just be Paul Heyman. I just think he adds a lot to that bloodline stable. I think both Regal and Heyman are in positions where they're mouthpieces for guys who, well, for the majority of people in those groups, they don't really need a mouthpiece, but I think they still find ways to add a lot to the presentation. So, like for example, like Mox and Danielson in particular don't really need someone to talk for them, but I think Regal being there adds a lot to the overall presentation. Same with like Roman. Roman doesn't really need a mouthpiece, but I think Heyman does a tremendous job. And then other than that, I'm not really sure.
It's Regal
Well,
for me.
BPJ, you're not wrestling on TV, so we probably would be considered a non-wrestling talent. So yeah, we'll put you in consider. You'll be in the nominees, buddy. Hang in there. All right.
It's Regal for me.
Regal for you.
Don Callis. If Don Callis has a full year, it's Don Callis for me.
Yeah,
But without Don Callis, it's Regal.
To be honest, I frankly have not been blown away by a lot of the candidates for this year.
No,
I don't think there's been that.
I can't really think of any.
I don't think there's been that one blowaway manager or an
I think Stokes.
announcer.
I think Stokes good. Like I like Stoke a lot, but I think Regal. I think AEW is really the only promotion that like utilizes like managers. And I don't know how to like describe it. Like that I'm like off the top of my head. Like like New Japan is Gato,
sure.
but like I think AEW I would go Stoke.
Yeah.
I'm not Stoke. What am I saying? I'd go Regal, but Stoke would also be up there.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the firm, and I think that's what hampers my push for.
See, I would almost go for Stoke because of the firm, because he had so much. Because he had so much to their like credibility that in spite of kind of the uninspiring like group of talent that's in there, like he makes them feel legit and feel like a big time deal. And I think he's been great as the baddies mouthpiece as well. And I just think he's fantastically entertaining. I might go with Stokely Hathaway for this. I would also say Kyle mentioned it. Now, he's right. Monty is right. Heyman did take an F5 at SummerSlam. That is a match I didn't mention, but that is my WWE match of the year, is Brock versus Roman at SummerSlam.
That's tremendous. That was tremendous.
Which I thought was so unbelievably good. Matt, I completely disagree with you. I so much enjoy Taz.
Taz is awesome.
I think he's the best commentator in American wrestling. He's so entertaining. I
love how AEW's been doing X, Tony and Taz. Like I love X, Tony and Taz. Those two together.
If there is a worst wrestling performer, it would be Jim Ross. Jim Ross is so horrible at his job in 2022. He is worse than who's the shittiest shitter in Japanese wrestling. He is worse than Taru. He is worse than Jaki Numazawa. He is worse than JTO Rhythm. He is
Wait,
worse.
can we go back? Did you really talk shit on Taru?
Yeah, I talk shit. He's bad. He's a million. And he's bad. He was never good when he was. No, don't flip people up. We're on YouTube, Murph.
Yeah, I feel like Eli Manning.
No, yeah. Jim Ross, his open contempt for my favorite American wrestling promotion of all time. It's just like it makes me want to tear my hair out. Jim Ross, dude. Why is he not grabbing a tag? Why the referee needs to get things under control? It's fake. You idiot! Have you?
Bowling shoe ugly.
It's bowling shoe ugly. I can say things that I've been saying for 87 years. You make me want to die, Jim Ross. You're bad at what you do, and you like tweets about your female coworkers. You lunatic. Get off my TV. I hate Jim Ross. He was so good for a long time.
Best in ring. Do we even need to say it? Like I feel like we can just go Ospreay.
Yeah.
Easy.
Best in ring. Yeah, I don't know. To me, like I guess that there's parts of wrestling that are outside of the in-ring package, but that's like why I watch wrestling, is to watch wrestling matches. Like I don't know shit. Like I don't speak Japanese. I don't know what they're saying. I guess I could read translations, but like all these people in Japan.
Promo's another slam dunk to me.
Is it Mox?
Maxwell
Oh,
Jacob
Max.
Freeman.
Max. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maxwell Jacob Freeman. Not even close.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's got to be. I mean, he has the promo. He has, I would say, the two best promos of the year, which is the back and forth with CM Punk, where
And then
he's
the
like
one
getting,
in Long Island about like
and then, well, maybe the one where he's fucking cussing out TK on TV.
I love that. I loved the pipe bomb.
The pipe
I
bomb.
love the pipe bomb.
Oh, it's easily the most memorable non-wrestling moment of the year, I'd say.
You fucking Mark.
Yeah,
like that's just like
Mark, you fucking
like what's it called? I really liked the MJF promo where he like talked about his background and like how like growing up Jewish and like if you remember this promo.
Oh
I
yeah,
believe it was like during the Punk feud. But like MJF is just he's the man. He's
There's
the man.
been like 2 or 3 times this year, right? MJF's like the most, his character's like the most despicable heel in the business. And there's been 2 or 3 times this year where
He's so endearing.
he's convinced people that he might turn face, and then he's completely flipped it. And like that's
it's so
like,
good.
I agree, Monty. When he had
believable.
the white, they were wearing the white at Daly's place, and he tricked them and talked
That
about
this made me cry. That is the best angle of the year, in my opinion. Is what Monty's talking about here. It's so good. It's so good. I think you also have to include Punk in this conversation, because he was the other and he easily matched up with Max in that feud. He also had really engaging, like the back and forth with Hangman was so unique, and the stuff with Mox too, where people are like, they're like, am I supposed to buy into what he's saying or not? Right? It was just very compelling throughout the year as well. So I think you got to include Punk in there too. And the promo where he announces that he's injured and has to vacate the title for the first time is pretty stellar as well.
Again, the Ace, like it, poor taste now, but the Ace Steel, where Ace Steel comes out.
Oh,
and, like,
the Ace Steel. Oh, that was so good though. Goddamn, it was so good.
It's such a shame.
So
it like makes me so sad how that went.
All right, what else we got here? We have most improved. This one is always tough for me because I rarely actually see big time improvement year to year.
Oh, I can do that one easily. Most improved.
Is it Yuki Yoshioka? DMD. Get out of here. How are you going to say DMD and not Yuki Yoshioka?
He was always good.
Oh yeah, Dia Inferno was putting on bangers in the main event.
Yeah, but he was supposed to be good then. Like it's not like DMD just got like really good out of nowhere. Like Yuki, like
so
it's not like
Yuki Yoshioka was wrestling shitters in Mexico. He was putting on bangers. Get out of here, Jamie.
Jungle Boy's a good shout, but I think Jungle Boy was always good. So
yeah,
I don't agree.
I actually buy into this Jungle Boy pick a little bit. I always saw big time potential this year, but he's like incredibly reliable to put on a great performance now. Jamie, who you got for this one?
I'm gonna go back to Stardom. I'm gonna take Mina Shirakawa here.
Great pick.
Just because I think she was like, she's widely considered to be on like the lower end of that roster in terms of ability, and it's a stacked roster, right? So it's not like anything crazy bad. But I think this 5-star run really like flipped opinions on it for a lot of people. We've talked about it before on the pod. Sounds like working the leg, and it's just like having great matches. I thought we talked about this the Saya match until like the unfortunate injury was her best performance so far. Obviously, it ended the way it did. And then she cut a one hell of a promo, I assume, I don't know Japanese, with like 3 teeth. So I just think she'd had like a really great, a really big improvement compared to like where fans sort of had her pegged on that roster maybe last year.
That's a good one. I would one other Stardom wrestler I would include in this is Ami Sarai, who frankly she kind of came out of nowhere to me. Like so I'm aware. Of course I watched Actress Girls. Like last year I watched literally everything. Like I watch mostly everything now. Last year I was watching Actress Girls. I've seen most of her career like pre-Stardom. And when she came out as Shuri's Muscle for that title match, I was like, are you kidding me? The mid-carder from Actress Girls is the first member of Shuri's new stable. I was like, what are you talking about? and all of a sudden she's like one of my favorite people in Stardom. I think she's so great. She had big time star making performances against Mina, against Momo Watanabe, and now of course she's the future champion. So I would include her in that as well. Couple other people in Japan would be Atsuki Aoyagi. I always knew Rising Hayato was good and thought he was ahead above Aoyagi. Their careers have kind of been intertwined. But now I think Aoyagi has equaled him and maybe even surpassed him. So big fan of Aoyagi this year. Tamatonga for me is now, again, I don't think he's like that much better as a wrestler, but I think you have to take into account how hard he worked to get over as an act. And because the Gorillas of Destiny were not fucking over before this turn. And since then, he is one of the 3 hottest acts in the company. Like, that turn gave him the path to winning a G1 block and beating the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, right? So I think that's a big shout there, one that has to be addressed there. I'm trying to think of other people. Ryuki Honda in early 2022 was put in a Triple Crown Championship tournament after Jake Lee had to vacate, and he was essentially a young lion before that, and since then he's just been a rock solid, really good member of the roster, kind of on like Shotaro Ashino's level. Murph, am I forgetting anybody? Max Caster, so. Anthony Bowens, the Acclaimed as an act. One. Yeah, that's a good one. Kyle had the same idea. So yeah. There's been a lot. I just can't think of that many people who've been.
I struggled to when I was noting down names for these last few categories. There's kind of like you got to think a bit more about them than some of the areas.
No offense. To move on, I hate most underrated. I'm not a big fan of that category. I guess it's not. I like because I don't know where underrated and underutilized. I don't know where the line is, but
Yeah. I mean, that's just like my favorites who aren't pushed. It's like Saya Ida and like Maya Fukuda and fucking Sheamus. I don't know. Okay. Rookie of the year. Let's close out with our rookies of the year.
Takuma
Fujiwara, great pick, awesome pick.
It's either Takuma Fujiwara or Logan Paul.
I had Logan Paul.
I was thinking Logan Paul as well. Yeah, that he's kind of mine. I would say cheating just a little bit because she debuted in November of last year, but Kaho Matsushita of Ice Ribbon.
I think Dave's cut off September, so we'll go by that.
So yeah, she's already like one of the 6 best in the company, and she's been wrestling for like a year. So I might say her as well. Rookie of the year is so tough because Logan's
like, really good.
The other one I want to talk about is Yuma Anzai. Like he's pretty much as prodigious as anybody in a long time, including Fujiwara. So yeah, good shouts there. All great picks for Rookie of the Year. All right.
Now it's time guys, for the most important award of them all.
That's gonna about wrap it up for us. We have one segment to get through before we are done, and that is our Beast of the Week segment, where we talk about our wrestlers that were most beast throughout the year. Jamie, can you start us off, please?
I will start us off. I've had a few serious picks on Beast of the Week, and I've had a few unserious picks on Beast of the Week. Obviously, I had Bobby Fish one week. I had Bobby Fish when Murph wasn't here. We kind of went off the rails a bit. I'm picking another sort of unserious one, but she had a good match. But the reason I'm picking her is not for the match quality. I'm taking Starlight Kid, right, as my Beast of the Week, only because she's got a cork of her right foot. Like she took a few shots in that fatal 4-way match. Like, can we get her playing for Liverpool? Like, oh my god, she's slotting them in past Koguma and Azumi. We had 2 goalkeepers in there, and she's unfazed. So she is my Beast of the Week on footballing ability with the World Cup.
How do you think she'd fit on Liverpool? You think she's they should be outing her?
Midfield.
Yeah, we need a midfielder. I reckon, she can be that energetic, lively, energetic, box to box. I think get her in.
Fabinho, Thiago, and Starlight Kid.
Sounds good to me.
Exactly. That classic pairing.
Starlight Kid and Harvey Elliott, platoon.
My beast of the week. I've been returning to All Japan and again, but they have so many beasts in All Japan that I just can't resist it. So we've mentioned him briefly a couple times. Shotaro Ashino this week wrestled a 30-minute draw, teaming with Ryuki Honda against Yuma Aoyagi and Jake Lee in the All Japan Real World Tag League. Halfway through this match, he dislocates his fucking shoulder, and he continues and wrestles the entire 30 minutes on it. All right. I have not watched the match, unfortunately. I need to, because I'm sure it was fantastic based on the teams and the talent involved. But come on, man, if you're doing that for All Japan, if you're dislocating your shoulder and you're finishing out 30-minute draws, how can you not be the beast of the week? So Shotaro Ashino, I believe my third straight All Japan beast of the week. Murph, close us out.
I'd like to give a quick honorable mention to Kenny Pickett. He was a beast this week, but truly the beast of the week is the demo god, the champion,
the Ocho,
Mr. GFY, Chris Jericho. I mean, come on, face Ishii, tremendous match. He bladed his chest. The guy's a beast. The guy is as beast as they come.
Blading your chest, going right across. Just blading. That's so beast. It's so beast. Okay, so
for the love of the game.
Our beasts this week, the incredible stable of Starlight Kid, Shotaro Ashino, and Chris Jericho. Congratulations.
We'll put a poll up. And we'll ask you to vote.
We will not put a poll up. Please don't make tweets on the pod, Murph. I decide what we tweet on the Dumb Guy Live account. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So, all right. Hey, if you've been watching, I really appreciate it. We had like Scarecrow, we had Matt, we had Kyle, Mad King, Dio Loki, tons of people. Adrian watching, Hart joined us. Joao, I love you guys.
Ayo.
I love the fact that you take the time. Ao was here. Monty's been here watching the entire time. Lewis,
Niang.
Ibu stopped by. Lamora, the squad. I love all of you.
Israel.
Right? I really appreciate you coming here.
Charlie,
Les was here. Gosh, there were so many people here. Hey, thank you for being here, everybody. We really
Kyle,
appreciate
have
it.
you blocked? Kyle, DM the Dumb Guy Live. Wait, Kyle, you may think I'm another Murph. I'm not, but if there
is another Murph.
I'm not.
I'm
not the.
Don't say it.
I'm at Murph Burner. So
Murph Burner.
You know, so if you're blocked by me, then just at me, and I'll find it and I'll unblock you. So.
All right, guys, that's gonna close it out for us today. Until next week, let's say motherfucking dumb, everybody.